Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Falcon Focus podcast. We're live from now until 10:15 on Facebook Live, archived on cuwfalcons.com. You can download the audio thanks to Podbean, listen through iTunes. Of course, we're back this week and will be now for the duration of the school year. Spring break has come and gone. This is now episode 24. My name is Matt Menzl. We'll be joined in our second segment by Concordia women's basketball head coach Stacey Brunner-Jones. But first things first, we talk women's lacrosse. That with senior Lauren Paquin as the women's lacrosse team coming off an overtime victory against Concordia Chicago. That in conference play on Saturday. Lauren, first of all, thanks for your time this morning.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
You know, and students around here on campus getting back in the swing of things. Spring break now has come and gone. How was your spring break?
It was actually really fun. For lacrosse, we went out to Oregon. So we had 2 games out there. We were only out there for 4 days. I wish it was a little bit longer, obviously, but we had some nice weather, which was obviously better than snowy, cold Wisconsin. We were able to play without Under Armour, which was always a plus, but we went hiking and had a lot of fun together. Unfortunately, we did lose both of those games by pretty big margins for both, but both of those teams are really good competition, so we were lucky enough to get the opportunity to have those good competition games.
Have you ever been out to the Pacific Northwest before?
I actually used to live out in Washington when I
kidding.
was like 2 years old, so I don't really remember it. And it was only for a summer for my dad's job, but yes and no. So I don't know. It was cool to be out there. I've never been to Oregon before, so it was cool to experience a new state.
So of all the things you highlighted, what was your favorite part of the trip?
We actually went to this place called Multnomah Falls, and it was like this ginormous waterfall that we got to hike all the way up to the top and like see over it. So we got some pretty cool pictures and stuff there. Not the whole team made it up there. Only a couple brave souls made it all the way up, but it was really cool, and I was really happy that we ended up going there.
Well, from a competition standpoint, forget again about the wins and losses, but as far as playing teams like Pomona Pitzer and George Fox, did you find that beneficial, playing that kind of caliber of talent to prepare you now for the duration of this season?
Yeah, I definitely think it was beneficial. Obviously, playing teams that are higher competition is always a good thing. It kind of pushes you to your limits and kind of shows you what your team is capable of doing. The first game against Pomona Pitzer, we actually played a lot better than we thought we were going to. For the first half, we held them, I think it was like 8-3 at halftime or something like that. So we were actually really surprised with ourselves, but they just ended up having more subs and fresh legs every couple minutes, so that was kind of the downfall there. But we definitely surprised ourselves, and I'm hoping that can kind of translate back to conference play pretty soon here.
Was this past week challenging in the sense that typically you play 1, 2, 3 games in a week, and all of a sudden you guys went from playing a couple of games down in Illinois, a couple of games out west, then that home game against Concordia Chicago? I mean, it was a busy physical week.
Yeah, it took a lot out of us. We have a lot of girls going into the trainers' rooms like with sore legs and everything, which is understandable, but we had only one person get like a significant injury, but she shouldn't be out for too much longer, so hoping she can get back into the swing of things, but we're lucky that nothing like traumatic came out of it.
I mentioned that used the word physical, and it's a sport that at least by design is not supposed to be all that physical, but it is. Take us through like a matchup like Saturday against Concordia Chicago, number of fouls, number of cards. How physical was that game?
It actually surprisingly wasn't as physical as I thought. I mean, it kind of depends on the team and like the rivalry between us. Like we're expecting Hamlin to be a pretty physical game. Some teams are just kind of known for being more physical and more dirty, I guess would be a word you could describe it as. But it wasn't as dirty or like physical as we thought it was going to be. Obviously, there were some plays where it was just like that shouldn't happen, but that kind of happens in every lacrosse game, so it's kind of hit or miss.
Look at that victory on Saturday, and tail two from halves. The team, slow start in that first half, much better second half, but eventually Concordia Chicago will tie, went to overtime, and the Falcons winning 12 seconds in overtime. Take us through the ebbs and flows, the emotions of a game like that where, okay, it's a slow start, you guys are down, and then all of a sudden, what adjustments were made in that second half to kind of turn things around?
Yeah, so we kind of noticed that they were coming out with a little bit more energy than we were. We started off pretty strong. I think they ended up scoring first, but we kind of came back and rallied. But that's just, that's kind of the weakness that we have is energy. So coach at halftime was like, this is our field, we can't be losing here. Gave us a really good pep talk, and we came out strong. and then just had like a little collapse, I guess, at the end, which was really frustrating. But at the end of the game, coach was like, "Don't ever give me a heart attack like that ever again." But it was fun. It was cool to see a freshman score the game winner, which was awesome for her. Super happy and proud of her.
Yeah, how has a player like Megan McPike fit into this team?
Yeah, she's actually changed it a lot. When she came in, we knew that she was going to be a strong player. I was super excited. I was telling coach all the time, I was like, yeah, like we're going to have all these good runs and everything. And so far that's been happening, and we've been connecting on a couple this year, which is good. So hopefully she can continue to do what she's doing. She's had a couple games where she just completely killed it. I think there was one game she had 4 or 5 goals, which is
5 goals, 5 assists.
Awesome.
Program
That's amazing.
record,
Yeah. So keep that up, Megan. But yeah.
The game had a combined, and this is where it kind of got a little sloppy. 65 combined fouls, 13 combined yellow cards, a couple of green cards handed out as well. In a game like that where it's called so tightly, and there are so many calls where sometimes even for us up in the booth, it's kind of head scratch trying to figure out what's going on. Does that change how you have to approach the game or how you play the game, knowing they're calling it a certain way? You have to change how you play.
Oh, definitely. Well, especially I got a yellow card in the first half, so I kind of had to be a little less aggressive and play my game differently because I couldn't get that second yellow. But when we know that the refs are calling it tight, we have to basically change everything about our game. If that's be less aggressive or, not going, I guess, 100% for ground balls because they've been calling pushes or something. And I know it sounds bad, but like you kind of have to cater to what the refs are calling, which shouldn't happen, but it's just the way it is.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but for yourself, for the players, do you guys always know what's going on out there? Is it? I mean, and I say that not to knock on any officials or the game itself, but the game is always evolving and changing. The rules are changing on an annual basis. They're trying to, get it to a certain standard. But there are calls out there that you kind of go, what do they call? I know. Talk with Megan McPike after the game on Saturday, where she kind of went, there were times where we didn't know what was going on out there. Do you find that, and is that sometimes more of a challenge from a playing standpoint, to know what's going on?
Yeah, I 100%. There's, like, when we were out in Oregon, they called the games completely different. They allowed us to push more and be a little bit more aggressive with defense. But coming back and playing how we played out in Oregon and then playing here, it's a world of difference, which is kind of upsetting to see that. But, I mean, it's our conference here, and we have to play by the rules here and how the refs call it here. So, but yeah, there's always times in the game where I'm like, what are they calling? Even coach is like, what is that? Like, what? I've never heard of that. Or, there's always something that Coach Emily is just like, I don't know what they're calling, but you just kind of have to put it past you and move on and play your game after.
All part of the preparation process, I guess, but draws are another area that at times you focused on. I know you started off the game on Saturday looking for that draw control. Is there a method or approach you take in the draw when you're competing? I know against Concordia Chicago there was kind of a height differential, but how do you go about approaching the draw and trying to win that draw control?
Well, I mean, we practice it. Coach Kendall will take a couple of the draw people in practice and work with them, but I don't really like taking the draw as much. I don't know. I think Megan has a better knack for it, and she can aim it better than I can. But it's really all about pushing and pulling at the right times and reaction time. Obviously, I try to push it towards my teammates, but it depends on how hard or how soft the other person's pushing, if that makes any sense. But that can actually really change the way that it goes. Like, if the person's pushing more, it's harder for you to direct where you want it to go.
How from a team standpoint, again, forget wins and losses right now. It's been a challenging non-conference schedule, but 7 matches on in. Is this team slowly but surely coming together? Are you guys getting closer in the sense that there are so many new faces, there are so many multi-sport athletes? It seems like until more recently, this team hasn't been all together. Meaning you guys haven't all been in the same field, practices, because they've been coming from different sports. So is it slowly now you guys getting on the same page and up to speed together?
Yeah, I think spring break really helped. We stayed at an Airbnb, so we were kind of always together in the same room. So we, instead of going out to eat all the time, we got to cook dinners at the Airbnb and spend a little bit more time together. So I think that really helped with our team chemistry. But I mean, we still have issues with I'm always late to practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays because I have class till 3:50 or whatever. So we have people who aren't at practices because they have labs. But I mean, school comes first. We're students before athletes. So I mean, you just kind of have to work with what you got, but we're definitely coming together. Our team chemistry is a lot stronger and better now, so hopefully we can keep that going.
And how about for you from an individual standpoint? 20 goals, 4 hat tricks, 19 ground balls, 31 draw controls, 21 caused turnovers. Are you pleased so far with the start that you've had?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm just playing my game, trying to do the best that I can and help my team out whenever I can, but also give other girls opportunities when they have the chance.
And you've been all conference all 3 years so far. Your name's all over the program record book, a program now in its 9th season. Obviously, you hope, but did you ever, anticipate or expect to have this kind of an impact on this program at the collegiate level?
No, I was always good, I guess, in high school, but I never thought that it would come to this level. I don't know. My freshman year, I really looked up to all of the seniors at that point, like KP and Sabrina, and then also Allie and Caitlin from last year when they graduated. But I don't know. I never thought that I'd be in the position that I am right now. But I like it. It's fun. I'm having a lot of fun here. So
to date at Concordia, your top performance on the lacrosse field?
Oh, definitely freshman year when we won conference. Because we, in high school, I wasn't, our team wasn't, the best. We never won conference or anything, and I never really won conference ever, except for in basketball my senior year. But I don't know, it was I guess, I don't even know, there's no words to describe that feeling.
Going back to your days as a Waukesha West Wolverine, your lacrosse, basketball, and a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Let's go. We got to bring up the cheerleading.
Of course.
How'd that come about, and how did that kind of fit into your cheerleading, but then you're also trying to juggle sports?
Yeah. I was a person who always wanted to be busy. Never really had an off season. Cheerleading was all of summer, and then basically went year round. But once basketball season started, I couldn't do the competition season, which was the most fun. But I was a cheerleader ever since, 4th or 5th grade, whenever they started it in youth, and my last year was senior year of high school, so I did it for 7-8 years, and it was a huge part of my life. It made me make a bunch of new friends, and I guess taught me more social skills and everything like that.
So were you cheerleading football games, and then on to basketball you played, and then lacrosse? Is that kind of how your school year went?
Yeah, basically. It was, I never really had an off night, and if I did, I didn't know what to do with myself. I just always had to be active. I always had to be doing something, and that's just how I rolled with my life.
So do you have a favorite Wolverine cheer, or a cheer you'd like to share with us?
No, I'm good.
Those days are past.
Oh, those are way gone.
So what propelled lacrosse to be your sport?
It was just the one that I had the most fun with, and it helped that my dad became my coach after my sophomore year, I think. And he would coach me in basketball as well, and I always liked having him there because, I don't know, it's just a comfort thing for me, and he was good at what he did. He didn't know anything about lacrosse, and he ended up being the most winning coach for our program in high school, which is awesome, and he's still doing it today, which is really cool. I thought he would quit after I left, but I liked having him there and everything about it.
So now at Concordia, you're a sport and entertainment management major. Mm-hmm. What do you hope to do with that major?
I honestly have no clue.
No clue.
I thought I wanted to work with a sports team or something like that, but I actually interned recently this past summer with the Chinooks, and I loved the experience, loved everything about it.
You're intern of the year in your area.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Why shy away from that? That's an accomplishment.
I don't know.
That's a grind of a summer.
It was fun. I made a lot of friends, and I actually still talk to them on a consistent basis, which is cool. And we get together, go to brewer games and all that stuff. So I made a lot of relationships through that. It was an awesome experience, but I just realized it's not exactly what I wanted to do. I don't know. Now I work at Capco. Now I work with the CRSE team, which is basically community relations and then planning events and stuff, which is really fun. I like that. But I just hope to coach. That's, I guess, my main goal. I want to coach lacrosse, yeah.
Is that inspired by your dad?
Yeah, kind of. I didn't think about coaching really until I came to college. And then my dad was like, oh, after you graduate, I have a coaching position here at your alma mater. I was like, great. I don't know if I want to do that, but I don't know. I'm keeping my options open. I've coached in the summers and stuff, so seeing where life takes me.
Well, let's wrap it up with the rapid fire segment and a series of questions coming up. And I guess let's begin with, when you look at lacrosse, you get ready for a matchup, your pregame routine. Do you have a routine?
Kind of. I usually go to the locker room, sit there for a couple minutes and just like take it all in, and then start getting my uniform and everything on, and then I guess we all jam out and dance and sing and whatnot, and then I do my hair, which is like I have to have my hair the same every single game. Yep. And then coach comes in, does the pregame talk and our scouting report, and then we all pray, and then we line up and we go out.
So would you consider yourself, you mentioned with the hair, would you consider yourself superstitious?
Part of me says yes and part of me says no, about certain things like my hair, like has to be the same. The one thing I guess I'm really superstitious about, I won't wear my game socks before like the game, if that makes sense. Like I have to wear 2 different pairs of socks.
Okay. Favorite music? What do you guys jam out to?
Usually either like pop or rap, whatever everyone's feeling, or country sometimes.
You have a favorite movie or type of movies?
I like Dear John. That's my favorite movie.
Never heard it. What is it?
It's kind of sad. It's about like a dad who has Alzheimer's,
okay.
And it's.
So you'd recommend it?
Yeah, well, 100%.
Favorite TV show?
Friends.
Favorite food?
Mac and cheese, 100%.
Mac and cheese.
Hands down.
Is there any particular place that makes the best mac and cheese?
I like noodles with the Parmesan crusted chicken, but I can go anywhere really.
Hobbies?
I don't know if I have any. I like to sing and dance.
You want to sing and dance for us right now?
No.
Is there a sport that you haven't played that maybe like in your mind you're like, I wish I would have, or at some point I'd like to try?
I've always wanted to play volleyball. A lot of my friends in high school played volleyball, and they always wanted me to join, and I was like, I don't know if it's for me because I'm really uncoordinated. I don't know if you've seen, like, I fall a lot. So I don't know if it was for me, but, I've always thought, like, in the future that I would join, like, a rec, like, sand volleyball league or beer league type thing or something when I'm, like, older and have a family.
Mentioned at Concordia your top Falcon moment is one of the conference championship. Mm-hmm. Is that your top athletic moment, or is there something else? You look back at your days with the Wolverines, or even before that you say, hey, this is, when I look back at my athletic career, this is my defining moment, my favorite moment.
Actually, my sophomore year of high school, when I think I got first team all conference or second team all conference, that was like, I guess, a turning point for me because. Like, people were noticing me, and I was like, wow, they actually think I'm good. And I don't know, I was like a self-realization or something like that. I don't know, stood out to me.
Favorite subject in school?
I don't know. Maybe marketing. I like my marketing classes. I'm not good at math.
How about in high school?
Definitely not math.
I mean, when you look at the basics.
I like science.
Okay.
Physics was actually my favorite. I took AP Physics in high school.
Finally, interesting or maybe a unique fact that not many people know about you?
I can juggle. I mean, it's not great, but I can do it for a couple seconds.
Now, does it depend on what you juggle?
Lacrosse balls work well, or tennis balls.
What if we got you salt and pepper shakers?
Can't do that.
No?
No. It's got to be symmetrical.
I'm disappointed. You're telling us all these great things. You can sing, you can dance, you can cheer, you can juggle. We haven't seen any of it. We got to see some of this.
I dance on the field before the games.
So I'll have to watch for that.
Yeah.
So that's another. Well, there you go.
There'll be a highlight video of me.
Tomorrow, Wednesday, 4 o'clock, Falcons take on Loris conference play, and so they need to be there by 3 to see you dance ahead of time. It's supposed to be nice, 50-some degrees.
Yeah.
3 o'clock?
3 o'clock, if you want to see some good moves.
Sounds good. Lauren, thanks for your time. Appreciate
yeah, thank
it. And again, the Falcon women's lacrosse team will be in action on Wednesday. When we come back here on the Falcon Focus podcast, we'll be joined by Stacey Brunner-Jones. Welcome back to the Falcon Focus podcast. We're live till about 10:15. We're live here on Facebook Live, archived on cuwfalcons.com. You can download the audio thanks to Podbean, listen through iTunes. We come to you from the Concordia Cafeteria. It's starting to die down, but we're here now. It's Tuesday, spring break, second day back for students, and being joined by Stacey Brunner-Jones, just completed her 15th season as the winningest coach in women's basketball history here on campus. But you know, so many other titles, so many other hats that she wears, and we talk, hey, it's the off season. It's not the off season for Coach Brunner-Jones, and she's the senior women's administrator, compliance, Title IX coordinator, on top of being the senior associate director of athletics. And Coach, I want to kind of break it down because I was going to say, I don't know if everybody realizes, you know, there's so much more to on your plate than just coaching basketball. And so how do you juggle it all?
I have the best job. I have a lot of people that help out. I love what I do, so I think that helps a lot. But you have to be organized. And with two little kids, sometimes that was a struggle, but I think I'm doing okay.
Well, let's start off. Let's break it down by position. Senior women's administrator, what does that entail?
Definitely it's an NCAA position, and every institution has one. And so I am, I guess, the old person on the female side, but just making sure that everyone is represented equally, and I think that's a big part of it.
You know, and again, big focus, as it says in the title, senior women's administrator. When you look at, you know, women's sports here on campus, is it fair to assume that, you know, when you look at the women's athletics, in a healthy state of affair as far as number of sports and participants?
Completely. I definitely believe that, and Dr. Barnhill believes in that, and obviously we make sure that we are under Title IX coordinated that way, and but I think all of our athletes are treated equally and have a lot of success because of that.
And I don't know, you know, when you look at from a national standpoint, but I got to believe Concordia has to be up there as far as number of offerings, number of sports teams.
Oh, definitely. And if it was up to Dr. Barnhill, I think we'd just keep adding. But no, we have. It's nice to go different places and people say, oh, you have field hockey, or you have, what's that sport? And I'm like, acro and tumbling. And, you know, so it's fun to talk about sports that maybe other places don't have.
And not all that long ago, you were a college athlete. You played basketball at Winona State.
Just a little while ago.
Well, really, the whole scheme of things, not all that long ago. But when you look at you know, women's sports and the progress and the opportunities, has it changed a lot in that short amount of time?
Definitely. And I think it's hard for maybe the athletes now to realize that. And even for me, I didn't have it hard by any means, but just to hear people older than me and the struggles that they had to go through. And it's simple things from having the same amount of meal money to having the same things that everyone has for traveling. Men and women should have the same. And I think it's weird for the student athletes to think that, why would they not? But there was a time that didn't happen. And so I'm very proud and happy to make sure that continues.
Oh, from a coaching standpoint, I don't want to get all political here, but if you notice differences there where maybe day one versus now, where you know, you've always had, you know, women coaches, especially when it comes to women's sports, but are you starting to see the respect factor there, or maybe taken more serious than maybe it was, say, a couple of decades ago?
Oh, sure, definitely. And I think you have to be successful with whatever you do, no matter if you're a man or a woman. I think that helps, obviously. But there's more roles for women in athletics. I think that, and being a senior women's administrator, that's what the NCAA had in mind for that. So I think we're moving in the right direction.
So from the senior women's administrator position, what are some of the issues you're dealing with, or what are some of the hot button topics that are?
Well, I just like to take care of a lot of like on-campus stuff. For example, like even simple things like we love our cheerleaders, we love our band. Well, you know, Steve Schauer makes sure that the band is coming equally to the men's games and the women's games, and we're making sure the cheer team, the dance team does that the same. Simple things like that, but it matters. So I think just making sure that everyone is represented through the media, through our office, is the biggest thing I deal with.
Compliance, what comes with that responsibility?
That's a headache, but it's so important. That's a huge part of my job. I meet with all the teams, all the athletes, to make sure they understand the rules. That's the first part, is education, make sure they know. Sometimes they're not always listening, but we are so blessed. We really don't have a lot of issues with compliance and ineligible athletes, but when we do, I have to take care of that and help get them on the right track. Janelle Gabrielson-Kotz helps a lot with that. So again, there's a huge part. Our department is so big, and there's so many people that help our student athletes.
In that area, do the rules change often as far as what the NCAA
No.
requires, or is that kind of
It kind of
standard?
keeps the same. In the NCAA's, it's about, for Division III, it's institutional. So with the NAC, we have the same rules all through the NAC, and that's what we go with.
The title I didn't know you had is Title IX coordinator. Is that fairly new?
Yes, within maybe 5 years,
Okay.
6-7 years. And so I just represent all of our student athletes in any Title IX issues.
Okay. And then Senior Associate Director of Athletics.
That means I just take whatever Rob tells me to do.
So-
I just do that.
So would that mean essentially you're second in command?
Yes, sometimes I'm kind of first in command, but no, really Rob is our boss and our leader in our department, and then anything I can do to help him or lead in any way to just make our department the best it can be on campus is what I do.
So how does that role differ, from senior women's administrator? Is it just now your big picture, the whole athletic department versus just the women's side?
True, and I think it was nice that Rob appointed me that. I think I've earned his trust, and I think he thinks I do a good job, and so that was a nice added title.
How about for Concordia Athletics, expectations, opportunities? How have you seen, the bar that's been set? How have you seen that change in your time here?
Well, and I think we could talk a little bit about that. I think that our women's sports still are a little bit, I don't want to say struggling, but we still have to continue to push to have the same standards in the weight room and success. And I think men's side, women's side, we've all had success in different programs, but to make sure that we're understanding the expectation of being a student athlete in college.
So as a women's basketball coach, as far as your team goes, what expectations do you have for your players?
Gosh, lots of them. They would say I have lots of expectations. But just being the best in the classroom, and I'm happy to say the first semester we were 3.66 team GPA. Getting in the weight room, I think we do a good job. We need to do a better job. And then just continuing to get better on individually to make our team better.
Speaking of the academic side, and again, relating back to maybe your playing days, do you see it maybe more challenging now? Not to take anything away from back when you played, but you look at the demand of the schedule, the game, the travel, the workload.
I think actually, though, just the way the world has changed with social media and stuff, I feel like the athletes here are a little bit more stressed out than I was, maybe. But they, I do have a lot of nursing majors, and a lot of our athletes are in the science majors, and obviously that is incredibly difficult. But I do think our youth in general are a little bit more stressed out. It's fun when I make them take their phones away. They seem a little bit better. So we try to do that as much as we can.
So does that change how you have to coach or approach, certain athletes? Because, you can tell. You know the characters of your team as far as what they can handle, what they can't handle. You have to adjust.
Definitely. My scouting reports, when I first started coaching, were pretty thick. And now they're 2 pages. So, and I think that's just, when we watch film, we don't watch it quite as long, in shorter segments, to help with their attention span. So
when you first came to Concordia, you came to coach, but did you ever expect to have all these different titles and wear all these different hats?
No. And so I feel very fortunate. But it is nice. I used to also do the drug testing. I used to be the drug testing person. Now Coach Cassidy does that. But it's so nice what I'm really happy about and proud of just how we've evolved in just such a huge department, and how many people play a part in making us successful.
Before we wrap things up, I do got to bring up women's basketball. It's completed another season, your 15th. How would you go about summarizing this past season, which again would see the team find its way into the tournament championship?
I loved this year. It sucks to lose, and it hurts to lose and be done, but I really enjoyed coaching this team. I thought they worked really hard, and they were fun fun to coach, and just always had the championship as a goal, and we got there.
So what's the off-season focus now for them?
Just like everything, getting the postseason, getting to the weight room, and getting conditioned, getting stronger, working on their game.
Well, Coach, as always,
do I get a little rapid fire with you?
Well, I
mean, is
don't
that
know if we've ever done that with a coach, but I guess we could.
I think we should.
Do you have a pregame routine?
No, I mean, I think I should ask you.
Me? I just be my guest.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone wants to hear it.
Okay, so Matt, what made you choose to wear a T-shirt today?
It's Casual Tuesday.
Okay. What team do you like to cover the most?
That's like saying who's my favorite kid. I can't answer that. I like them all.
Okay. What's your favorite sport
Basketball.
to cover? Okay.
It is basketball because that's the one sport I attempted to play. It was not good, but I attempted, so I feel like I have a better understanding.
Okay. Do you have any pregame rituals on how you get started for a game?
I do not.
Nothing?
I just sit down.
You plan. You have lots of.
Well, I got notes. I got pregame prep, but
Okay.
I mean it's.
And what's your favorite food?
Chicken parm or chicken Alfredo.
Okay. Do you make that or?
No, it's
Someone else
Well,
makes
I
it?
can make it out of a box. I can follow directions.
Okay.
Get TV dinner.
Okay.
But I have been known to screw that up.
Okay. Any favorite movie?
I love Back to the Future, the trilogy, all of them.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think that'd be great if you can go back in time or go to the future.
How much fun did you have going to the Bahamas with my team several years ago?
That was a long time ago. It was great.
Okay.
It was great, especially trying to get down there.
Yeah,
Remember
that was
that?
fun.
That was going to the wrong island.
Well, and I know you're supposed to be in charge here, but
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
our department would like to thank you for all you do, and
Thank you.
we love having you on our campus and covering our games.
I appreciate it. Hey, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks to Coach Brunner-Jones and Lauren Paquin for their time. Thank you for your time. And we'll do it again next Tuesday, beginning at 9:45 with the Falcon Focus podcast.